What's up everybody, this is Crumpet here, and welcome to another tutorial. This is the first part of a two-part tutorial for my Mega Guardian farm, and today's part of the tutorial is actually going to be the bulk of all the work. It's going to be the XP farm portion and the main control console for the entire farm though. And I'm also going to show you how to make it a little bit simpler if you just kind of want to quit out quickly and just make a quick XP farm as well. But anyway, so let's just go ahead and dive on into it. And it's just getting dark. That's great. So anyways, we're going to come over here. As you see, we got our bounding box of our farm right here. I've already pre-drained it. And if you want to know how I drained it, there's many different ways. I've seen using sand, sponges, lava, so on and so forth, but I did it just with sand and sponges, to where I would put sand against the wall, it would fall to the bottom, and I would make kind of like a grid, and I would make kind of like a square that's about 3 by 5 long. And keep in mind, I'm doing it with quartz right now, but these were sand walls that go all the way down to the bottom. So I made 3 by 5 walls and brought them over here. And then I came out one and brought it to the center, and pretend this lapis block is your sponge. So you put your sponge down, skip down 2, put another sponge, skip down 2, put another sponge, and all the way to the bottom. So break that out. And then after you get that entire part drained, I don't want to fall, dang it. After you get that entire part drained, you're going to want to come back, just continue on, come over here. Alright, and get your sponges out, do that, go down again, put another sponge, and continue draining that. And then you can completely break out this middle wall, and there's an easy way to also remove sand. Let's get some sand out. And torches. And most people should already know this trick, but just for the people who don't, I don't know who you are, but just trying to be helpful, not trying to call you out. So let's say you have a tower of sand or gravel or some sort of falling entity. If you break the bottom one and put a torch under, well, that was too quick, but if you place a torch under it, they'll all fall onto the torch and break instantly. You don't waste your shovel's durability, and it doesn't take forever. It's actually pretty quick. So now I'm going to go ahead, break this out. And as far as marking off your bounding box, it's kind of a little late to show you exactly in terms of where the temple is. But let me get out some prismarine bricks real fast. So, first of all, the bounding box is everything inside of this. So, where the quartz is I'm placing right now is not part of the bounding box. Everything where this lapis block is, where my head is and everything like that, is a bounding box, like starting at my head height, but where all that quartz is right there, and that's not it. So everything where those lapis blocks are is part of the bounding box, and the cobblestone and the quartz are not, so just pretend there's walls and a ceiling and a floor on this, and that would be your bounding box. And the bounding box starts, if you're standing, let's make a pillar right here. So you're standing, it's at Y61, the block is actually Y61, so you'd be standing on Y61, and that'd be the first block inside of the actual bounding box, and it comes to right down here on top of this. And so that'd be Y40, so you have a 21 block tall bounding box, and it's always going to be at this, excuse me, had to burp. It's always going to be at the same Y level. And the only main difference is the underwater structure will just have taller legs, but the actual bounding box will always be at the same Y level. And as far as where the corners are, so you can tell from where the corners to corners are, there's going to be some legs on your structure most likely. Obviously you'll be able to see the corners, but you'll get these legs, which I think are like 4 by 4 or something like that. And they'll kind of end like right here. So you'll kind of see this is where your 4 by 4 leg is, and the entire leg, not from where the actual height starts, from where the actual X and Y starts, are within the bounding box. So the bounding box, like the cobble that I'm going to place, goes around the actual legs, and that's how you can get the actual sides. But if you want to see in a little bit more detail on how to find the bounding box, I suggest going and looking up Doc M77's Guardian Loot Farm, and it'll kind of show you a better way of finding the bounding box. So now let's come up here. I guess I don't need those anymore. Gonna come up here to on top of the bounding box on any one of the corners. Doesn't really matter which one that you start on. And I'm gonna go into survival, and we're gonna count out 29 blocks. So that's why I got 29 already pre-stacked. And just from any corner, just start counting out 29 blocks. And those blocks aren't going to be, they're going to take those out in just a second, so if you have a better way of counting out the 29, go ahead and do that, be my guest. But after you count out your 29, not where the 29th ends, but where the 30th one is, where the bounding box is, you're going to want to break those 2 blocks out in front of it and mark those off. Those are going to be the center point for what we're going to do, or at least the center point for one of the walls. And go ahead and just break the rest of those out. Okay? And now we're going to come back to where we marked out, and we're going to need to make an 18 by 19 box. So we have our first 2 in the center of the 18 side already marked out. So now just come to one of the sides and start marking them out. So that's 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, and 18. And now repeat it on the other side. Ooh, getting some lag. 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, and 18, and now we're going to need a 19 long side, so we're going to start from here and count out 18 more. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, and now just fill this all in. Okay, and this should give you an 18 by 19 box. And now come over to under one side of it, and we're going to count out 9 blocks, so it's going to make a total of a height of 10 from here. So 9 underneath this one, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. And now we can just go ahead and fill in the walls and the ceiling. So I'm going to do that quickly off camera, and I'll be right back. Or not, sorry, not the walls and the ceiling, the walls and the floor, not the ceiling. Okay, now that we've got this all filled out, you should have something that looks like this. Mine actually looks like it's a padded room inside an insane asylum. I guess that's what I get for using all quartz. But at least I can jump around and smack the walls and they'll be padded and fun. So, now anyways, come up to the even side and come up to, find the middle again, so count out 8 blocks, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and these 2 blocks should be your middle. And now we're going to count out 8 again, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and break out those 2 blocks. Okay, and now break out these 2 blocks as well, so this is your 8 long side right here that I'm basing. That's your, or not 8, 18 long, and that's your 19 long. And so you should have a 2 by 3 hole in the middle. Oh, by the way, this is, on the inside, by the way, it's 16 by 17. So the next thing we're going to want to do is get some ice, get some signs, get some dispensers, and get some water buckets. You're going to need 272 of everything except for the ice. You're going to need 266 blocks of. So you're going to need 272 for every single one of those, because you're going to need to cover the roof in dispensers. You're going to need to cover one entire layer with signs, and every single dispenser needs a water bucket, and the entire floor needs a layer of ice as well. And you can go ahead and block this off so you don't fall with any sort of block just for now, but you can just remember to take that out later. So go ahead on the same axis that I started making ice at right there. Start making your entire floor out of ice, and then 3 blocks above that you're going to want to put signs going across every single block on that y-axis on every single one of these. Oops. So, and you can get them to stack up still by shift clicking. That was a recent change. You got to shift click the signs to stack them now. and put dispensers facing down on every single spot in the ceiling. And again, you're going to need to shift click to do that, and make sure they're all facing down and they all have a water bucket inside of them. So you kind of catch the drift of this. And while I go ahead and continue placing all these, I'm actually going to cut away and just kind of show you why we made our room. I guess the entire size is 18 by 19 by 10, but I guess it's just on the inside it's 16 by 17. So I'm going to cut away real fast to a different world and show you why we went with a room of this size versus the other ones, and I'll kind of show you a little bit about the Guardian mechanics as well. So I'll be back in a different world in a second while I continue filling this out. Okay guys, I'm in here in just another quick little test world that I just threw together real fast, and we have our design right here. This is what our spawning cell is going to look like, or at least part of it, after we get all the water streams put in. And this is an example of a larger one. I mean, any real example would work, so I just picked the one for my iron golem spawning cells that I normally use. And so let's go ahead and put a couple guardians in this new one that we're going to use for our guardian cell. And as you see, they're all getting to the middle fairly well, and they're falling through. You get a couple of them that swim away every once in a while, but that's not really a big deal in comparison to all the other ones. And as soon as they get out of that corner, as long as they don't try to swim, they'll just kind of get pushed and then fall down. And when we get ice in there, there's grass now, but when we get ice, their AI is going to have less of an opportunity to tick, and therefore they're not going to be able to swim as often, so they're going to go to that hole more consistently. So now let's come over to this one, and this one's a little bit different, obviously. Even so, here, let me first take out these. I'll demonstrate with both them in and out. So as you see, we have kind of like an iron golem spawning cell, a 19 by 19 instead of a 16 by 17, whatever real size you want to use to try to do this. But so we're gonna go ahead and put a guardian right here. We're gonna try to send them to the hole. That's just right there. And as you see, as soon as, well, he tried to swim that time. That wasn't the actual mechanic. But as soon as you get to the edge, they're gonna try to jump. And they're going to try to jump to any close by water source so they don't fall out of water. So as you see, this guy is going to take a while. He will eventually fall, but it's going to take him a while to actually get down and fall. There we go. So let's put a couple more in, and then I'll kind of explain why it's going to work like this. So yeah, as you see, these guys are all taking a lot longer to get in here. Let me put a couple in here now, and we'll see these guys are all going to fall in pretty much immediately, while those guys just hop around like crazy. They occasionally try to swim off, but you see the ones I put in there are already gone before the ones that I put in there finished off. So you might be wondering why it's working like that, and the reason is because of the water blocks. And even though this is just a tiny sliver of a stream, this right here is one Y block lower than this one. Even though they're pretty much, they look like they're connected, when this guardian gets to the edge, he's going to enter in the block above this water stream, and then he's going to think, hey, that's an air block, gotta jump, we gotta stay in the water. So even because it's just one tiny little sliver of a gap lower, just because it's on a different Y level, they're going to try to jump away. So what I tried to kind of do to combat this at first was to put water blocks right here so it would be an eligible spot for them to jump to. And that's why I had those water blocks there earlier. I don't have that middle one in. Whoops. Alright, get that middle block in. And so now I'm going to put a guardian in, and they'll go a little bit faster now because that has now become an eligible spot for them to jump into. You saw that first guy leapt right into it. Now 2 of them have, 3 of them have, and there's 4, and there's 5. So it's a little bit faster, but they still try to jump. They still waste a bit of time every single time, and so we don't really want that. But with this one, this is only actually 7 blocks wide from any single part of the hole. So the water streams are going to go directly over the hole every single time, and so they don't actually think they're they're not actually leaving the same Y level. so they're just kind of cool with it. They just kind of drift over, and since they're not trying to swim, they sink, and they get pulled into the draft. There's a downward draft, and they just get pulled straight down. And that's kind of why we have our spawning cell set up the way that we have it. So now let's head back to the other world. I should have the dispensers and all the signs and all the ice set up at this point, so let's continue on with the tutorial. Alright guys, when you finish that up, you should have something that looks a little bit like this on the outside. Just completely full square, nothing really too special out here. And then pop on the inside, be careful where you're going, you don't want to accidentally break your fences off. And you should have something that looks a little bit like this. And now we're about ready to put down the water streams. The first thing we're going to want to do is we need to come underneath this. So if you're in survival, you're probably going to have to stack jump up. But we're going to need another row underneath this. And that's so we can create a downward stream of water to kind of pull them down. So we're going to want to put some fences, or not fences, again, signs. On the 3 long side on both sides. Alright, perfect. Now we're going to need to come into here again, and on the corners you're going to want to make an L shape for each one of these, and it's going to be kind of similar to how you would make an iron golem cell or something like that. Just kind of manipulating the water stream so you can have a little bit of a larger area. Without the water all merging and becoming a single or a solid source block. So anyway, so the first thing we need to do is put water between all the L shapes. Probably be easier if I'm flying while I do this, or if you have depth strider in survival, that'll make it a lot easier. Okay, now every single block along the edge on the walls should have a source block. And now on the corner blocks on the L's, put another block on the second, like above the corner block, and break those 3 out. And again, do that for all the corners. Okay, and last one. And did I just... No, okay, that was weird. Alright. Because of this, these corners, how these are set up, and also because this is a too high stream right here, Guardians can spawn without the system being turned on, but it's not going to be a whole lot, so it's not that big of a deal. And how we're going to have it set up, it's not going to matter, they're just going to die in one shot anyway, so it's just a little bit of free loot while you're not doing anything else. So that's not really a big deal, in my opinion at least. If it really matters to you, you're going to have to find a different way to come up with a water system, and it's probably going to be smaller than this, so it's not going to be nearly as efficient. So anyways, we're going to come out here, and this tutorial is going to be kind of a couple parts, but I'm going to show you exactly what you can do. If you want to end it, just try to make this quickly and not use a whole lot of resources, you're almost done at this point. I'm going to show you guys how to make this a lot cooler, so if you want to continue with the tutorial and keep watching, you can, but I'm going to quickly go ahead and show you what you need to do if you want to finish it up real fast and just use this as an XP farm. I mean, it can be used as a little bit of a loot farm as well, and I'll show you that in just a second. But first thing we're going to want to do is grab some redstone, some repeaters, and any solid block. And you're just going to want to go ahead and put redstone on every single one of these blocks. Or I mean every single one of these dispensers, sorry. Okay, and now we're done with putting the redstone on that. And now we're going to want to come over to here. This is probably going to be the side that your input is on. And we're going to want to just find a spot and place a solid block and have 2 blocks coming off here. And I'm just going to put a button on this for just now for demonstration purposes. So I got a little bit of phlegm in my throat and I can't really talk properly. And now what we're going to want to do from this block right here, we're going to want to put a repeater coming off this side and a repeater coming off this side. And now alternating every single block from where this solid block is, you're going to want to just put another block. Whoops. So, and keep in mind you're going to want to keep these torched up or slabbed or something, most likely slabbed. That should be good. And you only need it to come out till the second last one from the adjacent side to where your input button is right here. So you don't need to do it on the far side, just these two sides right there and right there. So let me finish this up. And you're going to have one side right here, which is going to have 2 empty blocks instead of 1, so you can't hit the corner. What you're just going to do for that one is put a block right there and just skip those 2. Just so it hits the corner, and then just continue on like normal. Okay. Fix the time. And the last thing we need to do right now is put repeaters between every single one of these blocks. And for this one where you skip 2, just put down 2 repeaters. And why we're doing it like this is because it will most likely otherwise infinitely power all of them, trying to power this many repeaters. So if we do it alternating blocks and repeaters, the redstone cannot go back into the repeaters at all and repower them after the repeater gives it full signal, which would cause an infinite loop. And I want to quickly just show you, before we continue, that the water streams and everything are working properly. So I'm going to come in here. That should be a good spot for me to enter at. Not there. And we're going to go ahead and press this button to turn on all the water streams. We get a bit of lag when that happens. That's a lot of dispensers all going off at once and a lot of water updating. So you see now we got a full thing of water for these guys to spawn at. Come back out. Press it again. And you see the water's all draining now nice and properly. Everything's back to normal. It's off. And we're good to go. One thing I will warn you about is that you don't want to press the button too quickly. I'll kind of demonstrate. The repeaters don't really fade for a second, so if you press the button too quickly, my mouse is being funny. If you press the button too quickly, you're going to get some of them turning on and some of them turning off because some of the repeaters haven't faded yet, so you don't want to do that. So now before we continue on with the main part of if you want to be done with it, before we continue on with the complicated machine part of it, if you just want to be done with it, if you just want to have an XP farm and just kind of be like on, off, kill them, you're good, then what we're going to do real fast is we're going to complete the tube, go down all the way down to Y19 and set up the on-off button. So I'm going to complete that tubing real fast and kind of set up a little bit of a room down at the bottom, and I'll be right back. Okay, so I got my tube set up, and you're going to want to bring that down all the way down to Y=19 down here, and I've already got a little bit of an area dug out for the rest of the tutorial and a little room, nothing too special, something I just threw together real fast. So anyways, if you want to just be done with it and you want to just have an on-off button, just find a place that you want your button. Let's go ahead and put it right there. And on this middle one right here, you're going to want a redstone torch. And you're going to want to just go ahead and make a torch tower by alternating torches and solid blocks all the way up. So like that, and I'm not going to actually go ahead and do all that, but you're going to want to take it all the way up to wherever it ends and bring it up to here and just connect it up to this repeater right here. And this doesn't need to be a repeater, so you can kind of space it out however you need, but just connect it up into this block where this repeater is pointing into, and then as long as you use a button, it'll be fine. Just, I think a wooden button should do it. Well, definitely a wooden button should do it. I'm not sure about stone. I gotta test that because they have different delays on them. So, and then also what you can do if you want to change it from kill mode to XP mode, you can come in here. Excuse the fact that this is on. You don't even need that. Why would I do that? That was a terrible idea. So just pretend this is filled in blah blah. So underneath here, you're going to want to dig these out right here. You're going to want to place some hoppers right here, and this is where you can do whatever loot system that you want. So let's get some hoppers. And I'm not going to make a loot system in this tutorial. You can kind of do that yourself, but I will show you where to do them. So let's say your loot system for collecting these will be right here, and you can make those hoppers feed into wherever you want. Get some sticky pistons, and you're going to need some soul sand as well. And just place your sticky pistons here and your soul sand there, and again sticky pistons here and soul sand here, and just kind of connect those however you want. I'm going to go ahead and just do it like this. Let's get some redstone. There we go. And I'm just going to go ahead and do this, bring it behind the portal, and do that, and that should be long enough. I think 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. Oh, that's okay, so it's too far of a distance, so one of them's going to be activated a little bit slower than the other if we put a repeater in, so not a big deal. You can figure out exactly how you want to do it, but so let's just say I have a repeater there. I'm just going to lever. So they activate a little bit off by 1 tick, but you can just kind of open it and close it if you want to turn it from kill mode to XP mode if you just do the basic way. But we're not doing it like that in my tutorial, so I just wanted to kind of show you that if you guys wanted to be just done with it. So now let's continue on with the rest of it, and that's going to be the 5 different options. So what we're going to need to do, I already got the area set up as you see, and a bit of it dug out, and I think that should be enough room. But for these 5 slots right here where I have these quartz blocks, we're going to want to put buttons. So 5 in total, and then we're going to need redstone lamps, and these are going to be our indicator lights to show which mode that we're in. Okay, and I'm going to go ahead and put some signs and label these. Well, this should be off. Should be basic XP mode. My shift key is failing on me. That's great. This will be timed 1. I don't know exactly how much XP I'll get from this, so time 2. And we'll fix the labelings later on, and this will be loot mode. And this is going to be part 1 out of part 2 of a tutorial. I think I mentioned that before. And this is going to be mainly the XP farm, and the loot mode will still do some stuff today, but in the next tutorial, the expansion to this, the second part, we're going to expand on the loot mode. So anyways, so now that we got that set up, we're going to want to come to the back, and we're going to need more redstone torches. That's actually kind of convenient, but let me break that out. And that's actually in the right spot. On the rest of these, we're going to want to get more redstone torches and place them. And what we're going to want to do, you don't need to break these out. I'm doing this just because I want to have a different block to put my redstone on, just so I don't break it on accident later on. So after that, we're going to want to put 2 redstone dust on every single lapis block that I just placed underneath the redstone torches, and we're going to need another solid block for every single one of those. Have redstone torches coming off the back, and then we're going to need droppers. And so we're going to need a dropper next to every single one of those, and another dropper being pointed into, so you have 2 droppers pointing into each other for every single one of these. Okay, and now we're going to need some comparators. Go ahead and put the buttons away, we don't need those anymore. And a comparator off the back of every single one of these. And for these 4 on the right or on the left, if you're facing the console from the back, you're going to want to put repeaters coming off these 4, and that's just to kind of extend the direction. And I forgot to put lapis under these, so give me 1 second. Okay, perfect. All fixed again. So now off of every single one of these, we're going to need blocks coming off the end. Okay, and now we're going to need redstone torches on every single one of these blocks. Place another solid block on those redstone torches. Not there. Here. And there. Another redstone torch on all of those. And another solid block on top of those. Alright, good. Now, off of these 4 blocks, we're going to want to take more solid blocks and just attach all those. I'm going to take redstone and put them between that. And then we're going to come off of this by 1. Actually, we're going to use slabs for this. Let's get some slabs out. Put our signs away. We're going to need, actually this one needs to be a solid block. And that needs to be a slab. And we're going to want to go ahead and connect those up with redstone. Okay. And now for the rest of this, we're going to want to go to the middle of these 4 torches. So between that, we're going to want to come over and we're going to want to put solid blocks between those and then come up. Actually, no, sorry, don't want to come up yet. Another solid block between those and repeaters between those 3. And now we're going to want to start coming up. Alright, and now bring this over. And since these are going over those droppers, we're going to want to use slabs. Okay, and now we're going to want to complete those up to where those repeaters are with just completing the circuit with redstone. And what that's going to do is when one mode is selected, it's going to lock all the other ones out until you turn it off. So we'll demonstrate that in just a second after we get these indicator lights turned on. So from the indicator lights, bring out 3 blocks again with solid blocks. And then come up. Whoops. And just complete these all the way over to where those are. And then put redstone from the top all the way over. And do that for the other 3. Let's come over here. And last one. Alright, so now let's go ahead and put items in these droppers for these 4 closest to this left wall. Like if you're facing the back of the console, the ones on the left, go ahead and grab a single item and put them on the in the dropper closer to the console. And for this furthest one, you're going to want to put it on the farther one from the console, because this is going to be our off, so we want it to go ahead and be in off state right now, and that's why we have it like that. And so we're going to go ahead and show, oh, actually before we do that, we need to actually turn on the reset for this for the off switch. So what we're going to want to do is come down under here and place a redstone dust on top or underneath the block that that's pointing into. Bring it out again. Actually, we're going to want to dig that down more. And dig this down again. Alright, so off of this block where that redstone dust is, we're going to want to put a redstone torch, another redstone dust right in front of it, another redstone torch, and then we're going to need a dropper here, put a single item into it, and then a hopper on top of that. And then next to the dropper right here, so diagonal to that torch, we're going to need a comparator. Then we want to go ahead and dig these 3 blocks out underneath all the droppers. These are the ones further from the consoles, by the way. And I think my night vision might be going away. Is this the farthest one? Alright, that's the farthest one. And let's get some light down here so you don't get any mobs spawning. So here, 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 and here should be good. Alright, so now underneath these 4 droppers, the 4 farther ones, gonna want a solid block. And you don't need it for this one, the one closest to the dropper. And then what we're gonna need to do is space out a block. We're gonna need another solid block, put a redstone torch on top of that, a repeater pointing into that block, another solid block, another redstone torch, another repeater, oops, another solid block again, and just continue this until you get to this one right here, so just one more. Break those 2 out again. Okay, and now we're going to need a repeater going into that one, a redstone dust before it, and then we're going to need a solid block right here going into, or that the comparator is pointing into, and I'm just going to get a lantern down here for more light. Right there. Okay, and that should be our reset for the entire system, so when we turn the system off, so let's go ahead and test this now. So we can turn it to basic XP mode, and it turns off the off mode. Now we can't press any of the other buttons, they don't do anything. Now we press the off button again, and it resets everything, that turns off. Now again, for mode 1, can't turn on basic XP, or these other 2 modes. Turn that off. Perfect. Again, everything is working. Back off. And for the final one. Alright, locked out all those, and now turn that back off. And it's alright, everything is working properly. So that is our basic console, which sets our modes and locks out the other ones so we can't accidentally break anything. And now what we're going to want to do actually is come over here to where where I had the portal. Let's get some obsidian back out again. Break those. Dang it! I suck at placing. We're going to need some other blocks, so I'm going to use snow for this. And what we're going to need is dispensers. Alright, what should I give up for this? Let's go ahead and just put the snow away for now. Actually, we could put the obsidian away. That would work better. So we're going to need a dispenser in this bottom left corner. Fill out the rest of this wall. And one in the top right corner. And we can also go ahead and fill this in with glass. Because now we're done in there. Okay. And now we're going to set up these droppers right here. So we're going to make a little donut around where the dropper, or the dispenser, not dropper, sorry, is sitting on. So that's the corner of it. On the opposite corner, we're going to put a solid block, and you can go ahead and break that one. You can also go ahead and break that out. And now I need our droppers back. I don't know why I destroyed that a second ago. I don't think we'll need dispensers, but let's go ahead and put that in there. We're going to need a dropper facing up right there, and a hopper going into it. Put an item inside of it. Okay, and next we're going to need a comparator coming out right there, a comparator going into that dispenser, and from this solid block right here we're going to need a repeater on full delay, and another repeater there. Doesn't actually matter which one's on full delay, but one of them needs to be on full delay, and this will create a double pulse. And then we're going to need a solid block under that dropper, space another space in between it, and another solid block under that. We're just going to kind of dig out this little area right here, and we're going to need a redstone torch on top of that. And you can hear that created a double pulse, so let's go ahead and do that again and listen for the 2 ticks. And that's going to be what our lava's. We're going to have either lava or water inside of this dispenser, and that's going to break our portal when we're not using it. So let's go ahead and grab a lava bucket. Whoops, I dropped it. I guess it's in that hopper. No, where'd it go? I don't know. Oh, there it is. And we're going to need a flint and steel as well for the other dispenser. So for this bottom left one, go ahead and put the flint and steel inside of that, and for the top one, put a lava bucket inside of it. Alternatively, you can use a water bucket. I think it'll pulse fast enough to where it won't be messy or mess up anything, so that should be fine. So lava is not required. And so now what we're going to want to do is go ahead and just place a line right here, and we're going to want to come up over to the back of this dispenser right here and put another block there, a comparator into that. We're going to need another dropper, put an item inside, and we're going to need a hopper going into that, a solid block next to that, and we can go ahead and connect these two with redstone, and that should be good. And now we're going to go ahead and connect our pistons, or our sticky pistons. So we're going to want solid blocks on the back of both of these. Break those out. Okay, and now we're going to want to put repeaters on the back of that. And again, I'll go ahead and do that on the other side as well. Okay, repeaters. Oh, I forgot to put lapis down there. That was always like that. I don't know what you're talking about. So we're going to go ahead and make a signal coming over here. Dig this out right here. And we're going to want this signal going over right like this. 2 off from where that line is, so code 2 over. And these are where it's going to connect. I'm replacing it with lapis. Okay, and now connect these signals like so. We're going to want a repeater right here and a repeater right there. So now we're going to need to count up because the redstone signal will only go up 15 blocks. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. That torch is going to have to move. I'm just going to go ahead and put the second repeater right here because I know I'm going to need it anyways. And go ahead and fill that in. And because this is going to be on 2 ticks of delay because of 2 repeaters, and this one's going to be only on 1 tick, we're just going to change that to the second tick to keep those on the same delay. And now we're going to come under here, and we're going to break those out, put those as solid blocks. Actually, that can go up. Alright, so underneath where that block is, we're going to put a repeater, and go ahead and connect that right there. And just run our redstone up here, and this will kind of be our input line for the portal, the on-off mechanism for the portal, and this will be our input line right here for our pistons. Next, what we're going to do is set up our basic line for our line for the basic XP farm. So we're going to take this out and bring this all the way to the back to where our pistons are hooked up, which should be all the way back right over here. And just complete that line. Whoops. And we're going to have to go ahead and we're going to have to come back and add more repeaters later on because some of these need to be one directional depending on what the mode does. And so we don't want to accidentally turn on different parts of the redstone that we don't mean to at the time. So right now this actually shouldn't fit, so we're going to need a repeater. So we're going to count out 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. So I'm just going to go ahead and since that corner one's 15 and put it right here. And so when we turn our basic XP mode on, which is right there, our pistons will shut. The portal doesn't turn on though. And the mobs will just keep coming down until they fill the mob cap. And that's what basic XP mode is. We're done with that already. So turn that back off. And the pistons retract properly. Everything's good to go. Next, what we're going to want to do is set up the first timed mode. So we're going to have a redstone repeater come off of that. And I forgot to put lapis down again. And we're going to have it come out by 1, and then we're going to have it drop down and go, I believe it's 2, 5, yeah. Okay, so 3, 4, that should be good. So have 2 redstone dust after the repeater. We're actually going to need another repeater right here, and 2 more redstone dust, and that's going to go into a solid block, and we're going to need another single pulsar, so put a dropper facing upwards, a single item into that, a hopper facing it going down into that, and actually on this side, let's go ahead and put stone back here, don't mean to pause, and put a comparator coming off of that. And off that comparator, we're going to need to put a hopper timer. So let's come over here, and we're going to put a sticky piston in being pointed into by that comparator. We're going to need a regular piston because we only want it to go off one time. So put a regular piston 2 blocks away from that. We're going to need a redstone block. We're going to need that too, actually, and that. Okay, so we're going to need a redstone block with where the sticky piston is. 2 droppers facing into each other. Comparators coming off the sides of both the droppers. Blocks. Actually, let's fix that. Sorry, my OCD is going to drive me crazy. And over here, redstone dust. Okay. And off the back of that, we're going to need a comparator, a repeater, and we're going to need to power both of these signals right here, one to the portal, and then the other one to the sticky pistons to keep it from going into from one hit kill mode to insta kill mode. Okay, so how we're going to do that, dang it, I forgot about these again. How we're going to do that is we're going to bring this all the way back up to right here on the same line as this is. Let's go ahead and fill that in. Alright, now we're going to take our comparator again and our repeater, and we're going to bring this up 1, 2, 3, 4, and like I said before, we're going to have a couple one-directional things, so this is why we're actually putting extra repeaters. Next we're going to need to also bring this over right here, and we're going to want to bring that to here, and we're going to again make this one directional, so we're going to have that power here and this power right there, like I said with those repeaters, so we want those one directional. And we're going to need to go ahead and bring this up and over, so 1, 2, 3, and 4, and that should be okay, and bring that back down. That's not the right button. Probably going to need a repeater to get the signal all the way over, and just put another repeater here to be safe. Trust me, it's for later on when we add more things connecting to these signals. I promise you actually need all these repeaters. I wouldn't be doing this for no reason. So now what we should have, this should be connected up to the portal and the pistons to push the soul sand. So we can see it's hooked up over here, which goes all the way over this signal and down, which turns on and off the portal, and then it's hooked up from right here to go and close these sticky pistons so they don't die in one shot. And the last thing we're going to need to do is we're going to need to actually make a reset, because we want this to automatically reset and turn this back off, the entire system back off. So come over to this dropper over on the side, the one that's farthest to the right if you're at the back of the console and you're facing it, and on the back of this dropper right here, put a solid block and another block down here, and 3 more blocks right here, and we're going to need a dropper. Oops, I put the dropper away like a dummy. We're going to need a dropper here and a hopper on top of it again, another single pulsar. Put an item inside of that dropper, and we're going to want to go ahead and put a comparator on the back of that, a repeater, and redstone pointing into that block. And now we're going to need to go ahead and power this by having a block here and a block going over that, and we're going to need to just kind of connect this, oops, right here, by going up and over and stopping right there. You don't want to put redstone directly into the dropper, so we're going to take a redstone torch and place it off the side of that, which will single pulse it and turn the system back to the off state. So now we can go ahead and test this actually. And for testing purposes, I'm just going to put 20 items in, or 25. Let's go ahead and do. And it's actually going to go off once, and that's just because it does that. It's just because of a block update. It's not going to actually do anything. It's going to turn the portal on and off, but it's not going to change the state. Alright, there we go. So now we can go ahead and test the time mode. So we're going to go ahead and press this, and it's going to turn the portal on. And you also heard the pistons close, then put the soul sand in front. So the guardians will bounce on the soul sand, and because of how often they jump around, they're just going to bounce themselves into the portal after a couple seconds. And then in a second you'll see the pistons retract, the portal will turn off, and the system will automatically reset itself. There we go. And now there is one odd thing when the system resets itself. I've noticed after it goes through the automatic reset, you need to press the button twice to turn it on. It doesn't actually affect anything, but let's go ahead and test this out. So we're going to press this again. Oh cool, it didn't do it that time. Perfect. Okay, so I was having a weird error before. I guess I must have done something differently, I'm not quite sure, but whenever the system would automatically reset itself, it wouldn't properly, I don't know what was actually going on, it would lock it for one button press. So I don't exactly know what was going on. I'm going to test this one more time. But so like once it went back to the off state, I would have to go press it twice for it to actually turn on again. And it might do that with it might have been later on that this started happening, but it seems to be actually working pretty fine right now, so that's pretty cool. So I'm happy with that. So we're gonna go ahead, that doesn't really matter right now. So we need to come over to the second time mode, and again we're gonna put a repeater down, and I'm gonna put a solid block again. Repeater. Repeat. Alright, after the repeater, you're gonna want to go and take this signal all the way over to where this is right here, and we're actually going to want to come down, and we can just come down right there and have another solid block right here, and I guess I'll need another torch somewhere just to keep everything nice and well lit. And I'm going to want to run a signal to this block right there where it goes down, and again we're just going to need another single pulsar. We got a lot of these in this build. Right here, a comparator coming off the back of that, and again we're going to make another timer, so our sticky piston will go right here, a regular piston 2 blocks away from that, block of redstone, 2 hoppers going into each other, comparators on the sides pointing into solid blocks, and our redstone right there on the corners. And off of this one we're going to need another comparator into a solid block, which we're going to put a redstone torch on the back of. And under here we're going to actually, that one didn't matter, we're going to take 2 more redstone dust to make it point this way, another solid block, another single pulsar, and off of the side of this single pulsar, another comparator, and another hopper clock right here. And good. Okay, so now off of this one right here, we're going to need to put a comparator, and then a repeater, and another solid block, and we're just going to want to connect this over all the way over here. And this is why we have our signals, so we're going to need a repeater right here to make it one directional. I don't really think it would really affect anything if it wasn't. So this is going to activate the reset once that's all the way done, so we want that connected to the reset, and we also want it connected to the pistons, so it connects by going, it'll go this way and connect to the pistons through right here, and it'll go this way and connect to the portal. So that's why we want that. have our repeaters like this. And now for the last thing we're going to need to do for this part is we're going to need a repeater right here in this middle block. And we're going to need to come up where this repeater is right there. That's why that block right there is a repeater. We're going to have redstone coming up. Okay, and now you bring this over and then back down. Just want to make sure you clear the timer. I'm going to bring this over and connect it to up right here. And just to make sure this has enough length and it doesn't get powered by anything right there, I'm going to put a repeater right here, and that'll also make it one direction. I'm going to go ahead and get a redstone back out and just complete that. Here. And to right here. And so now it'll power the portal and from right here, and it'll also power the pistons immediately once it turns on, because otherwise it's not going to turn on when it's not going to turn on until you until this second timer turns on. So I'm going to go ahead and put items in the timer, which it's going to go ahead and set off the timer. So I'm going to put items in the timer. I put 25 in this one originally, so I'm going to go put 25 in each one of those and wait for them. They're going to both fire off for the first time, and I'm going to wait for them to do that, and then we're going to go give it a little test run to make sure everything's running properly and the timers are working. This one's going to be half the time of this one. So let me get that done real fast, and we'll kind of do a little bit of a test run before we turn up or hook up the on-off switch. Okay guys, we're ready for a test run. I got the items in the hoppers. I just want to go ahead and note the second clock on the very last circuit right here, this single pulsar, I forgot to put an item in when we were going through it, so don't forget that. Put the item in that dropper, and just make sure you've done that for all your droppers, because it might confuse you on why your things aren't working just because you don't have an item in your single pulsar. So anyways, let's go out and test this now. Alright, we are on off state, so let's first go ahead and do the first timed mode again. Alright, so everything, the pistons fired off like normal, the portal turned on, everything's good. Give that a couple seconds. We'll see the light turn off, the pistons retracted. Just want to make sure I get all this in camera. Perfect. And it turned back off. Wonderful. Alright, now, this is going to be about double the time, so if you want, just kind of look at the time that I hit the start button on timed 1, and kind of subtract the time from when it turned off, and go ahead and do that with the same amount of time on timed 2. Alright, so we got everything turned on. And again, let's go. I want to keep the lights, the pistons, and the portal all in frame, so we're going to kind of stare at this wall for a second. This is going to be about double the time if everything worked properly. Taking a little bit longer, that's a good sign. Now if it starts taking too long, that's a bad sign. It means something probably broke. Or I messed something up, which is probably a good possibility. I'm pretty good at messing things up. But this should be turning off any second now. Yep, there it is. And there it is. Okay, so that works properly too. And now we just haven't done anything with our loot mode. And the reason is because we're not really going to do a whole lot with loot mode right now. And pretty much we're going to do something with it in the next tutorial. But for this one, we're not going to do anything with it except for hook it up to the on-off switch. And that's going to make it so it's going to actually go into a loot mode. The farm's going to be on, but the pistons aren't going to be open, so they're going to fall directly onto the hoppers and get killed in one shot, and the portal's not going to be open, so nothing can go into the portal. So, I mean, it is going to be a loot mode, but it's going to be more in the second tutorial when I expand on this. Okay, so now what we're going to do to set these all up to the on-off properly is we're going to take these and on these top ones where we hooked up to the indicator lights, we're going to want to take these back. Actually that one's its own, so take them back all by 2, and where you first took them back where there's no redstone, we're going to want to put a repeater. And actually, it only really matters on these 4, but we're going to go ahead and put it on all 5. Okay, and now what we're going to do is fill in these blocks in between and fill them all with redstone. And now next what we're going to do is take one block out and go one block up, and we're going to make another single pulsar because we haven't made enough of them yet, like I said before. And this one we're going to go ahead and do right here. And there. Yep. And off the side of the dropper we're going to need another single block and another comparator, and we'll come back to that in just a second, but we're going to need to clear out a little bit of an area right here to connect up the other one. So what we're going to want to do is now take the spar one and also bring that over and bring it up, I guess, as well. Actually, we can keep it on that same y-axis right here. Like so, and bring it over to right here. They're both going to need to connect into this, so we're going to need a solid block there, but we're going to omit that right now. So right here is where our dropper is going to be again. Another dropper facing upwards and another hopper going into that. I need to break out another block. Okay, and now put items in both of those droppers. Don't forget, like I did before. Okay, and now hook up another redstone signal to that. Alright, perfect. And now we're going to come in here to where both of those are pointed to. Place another comparator off the side of this one, and a solid block for both of those guys to point into. And now we're going to make a torch tower going all the way out here, where I've already dug this hole. Come on. There we go. And just bring it all the way up to the height of the top of that, where we have our input at that we set up earlier. And almost there. Nope, I want that back. Okay, and that should be the correct height level. So if your second last one is a powered torch, you're going to want your top one to be a torch. And if your second last one right there is unpowered, you're going to want the top one to be dust. But so how I have mine set up, my top one is powered, so I want this top one to be redstone torch because we want the top to be unpowered. So now what we're going to do, just bring this over. We're going to bring that one over like that, and we're going to set up a signal. So we're going to have to count out 15. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. That's 14 right there. So I'm going to put that right here. Actually, no, I'm going to put that a little farther back because we're going to need to add a pulse extender as well. So I don't know, do it about 10 blocks back or so. Maybe even a little bit less. Just make sure it has enough room to reach all the way up here. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So we can even move that back. 10, 11, and it should be good right there. And so now we're going to need a pulse extender. So what we're going to do is just come out on the block before the repeater. We're going to want to make 3 blocks off to the side. Break out that middle one right there. Add redstone here and here. And we're going to need comparators. On the one on the same axis of the repeater, put it facing forward and one facing back. And that'll make a little bit of a pulse extender because our single pulsars that we have are not enough signal for this to be on for long enough to power every single one of those. So we need a little bit of a pulse extender to get it to work all the way. And now we should actually be completely done and ready to test out the machine. So let's go ahead right now and go ahead and test out basic XP mode. So I'm going to turn it on, and we're going to take ourselves off peaceful and not accidentally quit the game. So put it on hard. I hope that didn't mess up everything turning on. There we go. So we got our guys starting to spawn now. How did that guy get through? Okay, they're not supposed to be able to get through. Maybe don't use carpets. Maybe use fences. Let's go ahead and... I'm going to go ahead and clean this up and try again. Okay guys, I went ahead and changed this to fences because they could actually hop over the carpets. I guess it has to do more with pathfinding versus the actual ability to be able to get over it. So we're going to change this again to hard mode, and as you see, before we even turn the machine on, the water's off and everything, you are going to get some spawns, and they're just going to die like that. That's why we have it so that's off like this. And that's just because of that little like 2x3 hole. They're spawning in that and those corner blocks. And the spawn rate depends really on how much caving you've done, and I've done a ton of caving in this world, and I've even actually done more in the actual my real world, so the spawns are even going to get crazier, but nothing too much, just occasional few. But let's go ahead and test out the basic XP mode. So now they're going to start living, and the water just turned on. You can actually see that lag a little bit, and they're going to build up till they reach the mob cap, and the mob cap's been actually a little bit funny recently. I don't know exactly why, but I think it has to do with the render distance, and the render distance changing is messing with the mob cap. So that might have be part of the problem. So let's grab a splash potion of harming or two. I'm pretty sure the rank 1 will kill them immediately, but let's also get some rank 2s. Okay, so the ones on the left are the rank 2, and the ones on the right are rank 1. I want to go into survival to see if they can shoot me through the fence. Oh yeah, they can shoot you through the fence. Okay, so when you're AFK in here, do not be directly in front of the thing. Or have some sort of piston mechanism at the top for a window, I don't know, something. Because they can shoot you through that, that's for sure. And I wonder how much this will hurt. Oh, they actually kind of bounce too much for them to actually really hurt you. Some of them will get through, like that one, but they're mostly just kind of bouncing. So I think my mob cap is actually stuck around about 35%, or I mean 35 mobs, and that's because what I was saying with the render distance thing, making the mob cap all weird. That's a 1.8 thing, and I hope they fix that soon. You can actually avoid this using the timed modes because the mobs will ignore the mob cap and go into the portal. So let's go ahead, and as you see, only a couple mobs are kind of falling down now. We've hit the mob cap. There's like 38 in here. So let's go ahead and throw one of those. I killed most of them. I'm not sure if I hit the middle. Let's try to throw that farther in. Yeah, so I don't know if that's because of my bad placement with my throwings, or what. And you also definitely don't want to punch these guys, especially when you're not wearing armor. Even if you're in range of a regeneration resistance beacon, you will kill yourself. So let's go ahead and put this back on peaceful for a second. And now it's time to test out the timed modes. Go ahead and clean these up. The hoppers are already starting to get a little bit full. I need to go back to game mode 1, and I don't really care about the hoppers because they don't have a real looting system in place. But just before we go ahead and do the time modes, you're gonna have to set something up on the other side. So I got this right here, the most basic little thing. It's what I had before. I'm gonna go ahead and change that to fences, so these things don't kill me. And I'm probably gonna also want to go ahead and make a spot to where I can kind of just duck behind so they can't really hit me. Hopefully yours isn't over a lava lake. It'll make making a looting system a lot more difficult, I'll tell you that. So let's go ahead and place that in here. So pretty much I just got this basic little thing, just another portal with some hoppers on top of it, you can make another mechanism like I had before, to where you can turn on and off the portal. So, but yeah, that's pretty much what I have in place. The portal that I have on the other side connects up to that portal. I'm not going to go ahead and explain portal placements, but so just kind of keep that in mind. You can kind of look up portal placements yourself. There's a lot of information on it. So I'm going to go ahead and change it back to hard mode, and we're going to go ahead and, ooh, I forgot to add more items to the hoppers, so I'm going to go off camera for just a second and go fill up the hoppers with 5 stacks of items each for the hopper clock. Okay, everybody, got everything ready, got all the items in the hopper timer, 5 stacks in every single timer, so we're about ready to go test things out. One other thing I did real fast, just to be safe, is I went and hooked this up. This is just another, it's a lever that just hooks up to the exact same circuit that we have on the other side for the other portal, just so I can turn this portal on before I go ahead and, I can turn the portal on and off before I go and kill them. So I have that in there just to show you. So now we're about ready to take it off peaceful again and give it a shot. So go ahead and put it on hard, and we should be ready to go ahead and press this button now. So we're going to go for the first timed mode. Okay, oh, first guy just fell. I guess he didn't make it in time. Where's that XP orb coming from? That was weird. Did I get XP? Nope, okay. Alright, so let's just watch these guys. I'm going to make this a little bit of a time lapse while these guys fall into the portal, and we'll be back whenever the portal shuts off. Alright guys, the portal is now off. We got this one guy who didn't make it through on time. Let's go ahead and we'll let him live for now. You see there's still guys falling out, the farm's slowly turning off, and even still you can't get the a completely perfectly turned off mode because of the water streams inside. So now the bulk of them should be done falling. So let's go ahead in here. We got all of our guys right there. Let's go ahead and turn off our farm. So as you heard, the farm just turned off, and let's go ahead. I'm going to go hide first, go to game mode 0, and let's throw this potion. Alright, getting quite a bit of experience. And you want to turn off that portal, or else the XP is going to glitch out and it's going to just act all weird. And so yeah, so just be wary of that. That's why I added in that button, because last time I tried this with the portal still active, it definitely just, all the XP just disappeared. So this mode with just one hopper timer got me from almost 0 to 30 perfectly within the timing of one hopper timer. So that's pretty good. And we still got one other guy on the other side to kill. I don't really care about that loot, so I'm going to turn the portal back on and head back to the other side. Alright, that one guy's the only guy who lived. Let's go ahead and punch him. No, get over here. Now he's dead. Okay, so now I'm going to go /kill myself and come back and get ready for the second mode. Alright, I've gotten rid of my XP levels. Let's go ahead and check that. You can see killed Crumpet XXIX, but 0 levels with 0 XP. So now we're ready to go ahead and start the next one. So this is time 2. Go ahead and turn that on, and before I cut to the time lapse, I'm going to go ahead and change this to 0 through 31. And now we're going to have the long mode go, and thank God these guys aren't trying to shoot me. I'm going to go back to game mode 1 into creative mode, and let's start the time lapse. Alright guys, our time is up on that one too. We got, I think, 2 survivors this time. I don't want that prisoner in charge. 3 survivors that time. Didn't make it through the portal. No big deal. Let's go to game mode 0 again. Head back to the other side. And get everything turned off properly. Okay, oops, I got a level on accident. That must have already been in here. Let's go ahead and shut that off. Alright, I heard the portal break. Ooh, we're getting some lag already. Alright, let's pop a regen potion this time. And we're getting tons of lag. This is going to be a second. Oh man. I'm getting XP faster than it can even go in. Check out that lag. That's insane. Alright, well, we're gonna get 30, no problem. Looks like there's still a lot of XP to go. Wow. And this is maybe, I don't know, 7-8 minutes of AFK? I think, somewhere between that, a little over 7. This is just insane. It can't even keep up. That's awesome. Okay, so we got to 40. Well, I don't know exactly how big of a deal that one actually was, because in the long scheme, 1 level of experience, your first level, isn't much XP. So you get from 0 to 41 or 0 to 40, depending from the double timer, and 0 to 30 from the initial one, or 0 to 31. So remember to turn that portal back on before you leave. There's a little bit more XP on this side that came through the other portal, but that's okay. And so yeah, we got these guys left and just one-shot them. Get over here. Don't shoot me. Aha! Alright guys, so I'm going to turn this back on peaceful now. So anyways, I'm going to be releasing a world download for this as well, so everybody can kind of take a look. Go back into game mode 1. Just before I sign off here, I just wanted to show you, that's where I've been getting in and out. So once you come over to the Guardian farm, if you take a look at the world download, just come over to this side. You should be entering from right over here, so it's going to be on the right side of the farm, on the right side of this tube. You can just hop down and you'll be in the back of the redstone work here. And so yeah, you can use the farm, pretty much you can turn it on and go leave. I just have the portal set up here, but if we actually came back down here a little bit, you'd actually find that I'm very close to, yep, there's my branch lines right here. So I mean, you can, if you have the farm in a convenient location, you can just turn it on and walk away. And after you walk away, as long as you're still within 128 blocks of both this killing area, the portal, and the spawning platform, you should still be able to get mobs in there. The amount of mobs that you'll be able to get is it's going to be more related to A, how close you are to the farm, and B, how close to a perfect perimeter of like removing all the spawning area around the farm. So that's what's going to kind of dictate the amount of drops, the amount of XP, the amount of everything that you get. So just keep that in mind. And this world right here is not a perfect perimeter, not even close. In my caves, I have the beginning of a slime chunk going on down there. There's some caves over there that aren't lit up, some caves back there. And I've gotten more of it done in my actual LP world, so I'll be getting better experience than the actual trials that we just did just now. So yeah, one last thing to go over. Over here, I'm pretty sure for new people, like since it's not my same save, you won't be saved in my bed. You'll probably spawn just about right here, if I remember correctly. Either that or you'll spawn in the iron farm somewhere up here, probably above these doors. So just all you gotta do is fly north, and you'll see my house, and then you'll see the Guardian Farm. And like I said, you can get into the Guardian Farm from that right side over by the tube. If you're going to go ahead and do the tutorial and go download the world download for it. So yeah, so I think I'm getting a little bit out of words, out of things to say here, so I'm just gonna call it quits, guys. I hope you guys enjoyed the tutorial, and I hope you guys have a good time farming. These guys have probably replaced Enderman as my favorite XP grinder, so these things are pretty awesome. And we're going to continue the tutorial later on. We're going to add in the rest of the area just as a loot farm to completely fill in the rest of the spawning area. If you already aren't getting enough prismarine shards and all the other stuff off of this, which with just this little bit should be way more than enough, but we're going to go crazy with this thing and build something spectacular. So keep watch for that second tutorial. Once I get it all finished up, I'll put a link, like an annotation or something, that you can click probably right here in this part of the video whenever the link comes out. And so yeah, so stay tuned for that. And again, guys, this has been Crumpet. I hope you guys enjoyed the tutorial and get lots of prismarine and experience. And have a good one. I'm out.